All right, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, hope everyone's doing well. Questions? What's in your mind? Today is our last normal class. What do I mean by that? Starting on class on Thursday, there's no class on Tuesday. So starting class on Thursday, we move on to the topic of estates, which is by far the most complicated part of the semester. By far. That unit is tough. This stuff is normal, right? Hunting, finding stuff, giving presents, it's all things you can relate to, things you've probably done in your own lives. The stuff we start doing next week, not so normal. So I encourage you, I implore you to please read the material for next class, which is Thursday, very carefully. It's short, deceivingly so. But if you have to read it twice, read it twice. Okay? Today we're going to wrap up our topic on finding property in the wild, finding lost property, gifting property. Right? This is the last topic in this unit. And we'll do an issue that you thought was probably simple. Gifts, right? Gifts are more complicated than you anticipated, aren't they? In fact, there's a lot of law that goes along with it. So I want to start off by doing the questions. On page 115 in your book. If you don't have your book, that's fine. Okay? So I'm going to read it to you first, okay? O owns a pearl ring. While visiting her daughter, A, O leaves the ring on the bathroom sink. After O leaves, A discovers the ring. When A telephones O to tell her of the discovery, O tells A to keep the ring as a gift. Has O made a gift to A? And that's your question, right? Has O made a gift to A? All right. Where's the thing? It's not working. Okay. Okay, so A is yes. And then B is no. I haven't started the stupid crash. Spinning beach ball. Okay. There it is. Okay. Ignore. Okay. Start the session. There we go. Okay, so start this poll. Has O made a gift to A? Yes or no? Okay, another 10 seconds or so. All right, stop it there. Who's next? Where am I up to? Roxy, what's your answer here? You said no. Why did you say no? So is this like the found property case? Is that what you're getting at? Right? Remember we did last week where if you find it on the table, it goes one way, give it to the owner of the property. If you find it on the floor, is that what you're getting at? All right, Natalia, what are you thinking here? Okay, why? Wait a minute. When did the delivery occur? I don't see any delivery here. Do you? Where's the delivery? Well, I mean, she took the ring off the counter. Did the mother deliver it to the daughter? Wait, but let's just. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking where's the delivery here. Where's the delivery? You're actually right, but we'll get there. Edwin, where's the delivery?
The delivery occurs when she says that she can keep the ring.
But doesn't the delivery require physically handing the ring over?
Not necessarily. Like a manifestation of intent.
But okay. But Andres, when the mother left the ring on the sink, did she have the intent to give it to the daughter?
No.
When did this When did the intent arise?
Well, basically, when she told her that she forgot the ring, that's when they told her might as well just keep it.
So let's ask the question again, Andres. Is this a gift?
No.
You say no. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what the results are. I don't know the answer. Oh, pretty close. Okay. So 60% said there's a gift, and 40% says there's not. What's the right answer? There's a gift. Whoa. Let me walk you through this, right? Let me walk you through this. So, Demetrius, tell me, my friend, what are our 3 elements for a gift?
First, the donor must have the intention to pay.
Okay, so first one's intent. Okay, what's the next one?
The second one is delivery.
Okay, delivery.
And the third one is
Okay, very good. So the book lays out that there are 3 general elements to give a gift, right? First, the person must intend to give the gift, right? Kadisha, what does it mean to intend to give a gift? What does that signify? I gotta be a little bit louder. I have trouble hearing it. Okay, good. Right? So we say that your intent is to actually give it as a gift, right? You're not trying to sell it. You're not giving as a bailment, for example, right? You're not maybe giving someone to borrow. You're giving it as a gift. Now, Kendall, what's the definition of a gift? Once you give a gift, what happens to that property at that point?
It's not yours anymore.
No backsies, right? Yeah. You don't give. No, kids learn property at a very young age, right? When you give a gift, that's it. You can't haul it back in. You can't recall it, right? Once the gift is given, that's it. So the intent is, hey, I'm giving you my phone to borrow for the rest of the day. That's not a gift, right? Maybe it's a bailment, call it whatever you will, but it's not a gift. Okay? Now, Zach, tell me about delivery. Deliverance, right? But tell me about delivery. What does delivery mean in this context?
Well, I was under the impression that delivery had to be
Okay, so in the case of a ring, what would the delivery have to be in your mind?
handing it to the person.
Handing it to someone. What if, you mail it to them? Would that be delivery?
I think that it is.
Okay.
I guess.
What if you leave it in their mailbox, right? You just drop off in their mailbox. Would that be delivery?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
You think so? Okay. What if, you're at your, friend's house and, they're on their way home and say, you know what, just leave it for me on the table, right? And you leave it for them on the table so when they get home they can find it. Would that be delivery?
It seems like it would.
All right. So now, Zach, let's finish it up. Let's do the case we have here, right? If you leave on the kitchen counter, the bathroom counter, is that delivery?
If you wanted the person to take it from there, I guess.
Oh, okay. So what makes this case confusing, and why I think almost half of you got it wrong, is that the delivery doesn't need to come at the same time as the intent. Right? The delivery doesn't need to come at the same time as intent. You can have the deliverance first, and the intent comes later. The sequencing is irrelevant. If you put the delivery and the intent comes later, right? That is enough. So Lucas, let me ask you this question. Let's say, give you a different hypothetical, right? The mother left the ring on the kitchen table and said to the daughter, I'll tell you what, I'll leave this for you. If you give me $50, you can have the ring. And the daughter says, screw this, Mom. I'm your daughter. I'm not giving you money. It's like, okay, sweetie, fine. Just take it. Is that a gift? Again, when the ring was placed there, her intent was to sell it, not a gift. But then after the daughter shamed her, right, she said, okay, just take it. So is that a valid gift? Under the rule we just did over here.
I would say yes, because she changed her intent.
Yeah. So the the delivery does not have to come at the same time as the intent. In fact, the intent can change, right? Marcella, let me ask you the opposite, right? Let's say it happens like this, right? Mother leaves the ring on the table, says, I'll tell you what, give me $50, you can keep the ring. Daughter says, Mom, what are you doing? I'm not giving you any money. Okay? And the mother says, okay, fine. Give me the ring back, and I'll give it to you back with the intent as a gift. Everyone see what I'm saying, right? They could do it in 2 steps. She left it there the first time for sale after the daughter shamed her. She said, fine, bring the ring back to my house, and I will hand it back to you with the intent as a gift. Marcella, does that make much sense?
No,
Why not?
it doesn't seem practical.
It's a waste of time, right? A lot of property law, if something seems like a waste of time, you probably don't have to do it, right? This cuts to the chase. Sure, right? Mother gives it to her as a sale. Daughter says no, gives it back to the mom. Mom gives it to the daughter with the intent as a gift. Oh, that's fine. So just cut out the middle part, right? Just say, fine, you already have it. Delivery is done. I'm giving you this intent on the phone. You accept it, which is the 3rd prong, and that's it, you're done. So this entire idea of gifting is designed to follow the intent of the parties. And you don't have to do this unnecessary middle ground step, right, where you hand it back there and back. We'll do cases in property where you do have to do that. There are some cases where you do have to sell it back to a person. It's a waste of time, but here, the law of gift is permissive. Okay? All right, so questions. Questions on this much. All right. So, Justin, let me ask you this question, though. I think I asked Zach this a minute ago, but I'll ask it to you differently. Are you required to physically deliver a piece of property, a chattel, to give it from A to B? Is a physical deliverance required? Okay, you say no. Why not?
I mean, you can make it.
Oh, okay, hold on. What's this constructive business, right? What's constructive delivery?
So, like for example, I can say that would allow them access.
Ah, okay. So we learned that there are different types of delivery, right? Physical delivery, easiest. I'm handing you the ring. No questions, right? Constructive delivery, Justin said a minute ago, is giving a key or something that might open up access to the gift. So if there's a chest or a dresser and it's locked, or a safe box, right? If you hand someone the key, you're constructively giving them access to the contents of that box. Now, Samantha, why don't you just hand someone a safe?
Not practical.
See what I mean? It's not practical, right? If you can't physically hand someone this humongous, lockbox, you do something that's easier than that, which is often giving a key or something to that extent. Okay, Samantha, what's another type of delivery that's talked about in the book?
Symbolic.
Okay, very good. Now tell me, what's symbolic delivery? Yeah. So usually symbolic gifts are written, some sort of written instrument. By the way, when I say instrument, I'm talking about a document, a piece of paper. It just means a document. It's a fancy word. Instead of saying, I'm giving you my grand piano, I'm going to write you a letter saying, I want to give you my grand piano. That's adequate. You don't have to hand over the piano. It's way too big. Okay. Now, you see the difficulty, though, right? or Dylan, I'm sorry, Kelly. Dylan was just shot over his seat, right? Kelly, what's some of the problems with allowing symbolic and constructive delivery, right? Why might that be problematic?
Because they don't actually have it in their hands.
Ah, so why is that problematic?
So they don't have the evidence that it's actually given to them.
Very good. I like the way you phrased it, right? One of the things we talk about a lot in this class is evidence and whether something's certain, right? How do we know you caught the fox first? How do we know you caught the whale, right? How do we know that you found this? You have it. If you have the fox in your hand, it's yours. It's a certain rule. But when you're dealing with constructive or symbolic delivery, you don't have the ring in your hand. You have a piece of paper, or maybe you have a key. And as we saw in the first case, having a key doesn't get you what you think it's going to get you, right? Physical delivery is the physical delivery is like the absolute, simplest way of proving you have something, and it actually traces back to a tradition, common law custom, called livery of season. Okay, livery of season. I'm going to play a video for you. This you'll remember for the rest of your law school career, I promise you. But under the common law, right, people weren't very educated. They couldn't really read. And they didn't have written instruments for contracts and the like. Now, you studied in contracts the statute of frauds, right? Why do we have the statute of frauds? To prevent fraud. By requiring a writing, you're ensuring that the parties bound put their terms in writing, right? Everyone knows what the deal is. But before there was a statute of frauds, how did people represent the transfer of property, right? You can't have a writing if you're all illiterate. So instead they had this tradition, this custom called livery of season. I'm not going to ruin it for you. Just watch the video.
Broker IPTV. Today we're talking with Michael Robinson from Robinson and Henry Law Practitioners. Michael, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here.
We had you on a previous segment. We were talking about deeds and the different types of deeds. We went through the standard 6, but at the end we started talking about a very old method in which they used to transfer property, and it was called livery of season. Is that correct?
Sure is, and that's where the word deed actually comes from, is that action.
All right, real quick.
Yeah, so the word deed, versus doing the deed, actually completing the deed, that's where the word comes from.
Is livery of season recap.
Okay. Because most people were illiterate in England at the time this thing developed, they would bring witnesses out to the property, and witnesses would be able to witness the buyer giving money, the seller giving over the actual physical parts of the property, namely turf and twig.
So this is actually a video of English settlers engaging in a land transaction with the natives. We talked about acquisition by discovery and conquest. This is one of the deals where basically the native settlers were selling, or actually purchasing land. The European settlers were buying land for the natives. So if you can imagine, right, you're this guy over here, and this guy in a hat's handing you this little twig. And what the hell is this, right? Now you know what they're doing.
Quick ceremony.
All right, so for the first time ever on Broker IPTV, we'll do a reenactment here.
I think it's an
All
excellent
right,
idea.
so what we're going to do is we're in Old England, and we're going to transfer property. And of course, we have to dress the part. Now, am I the buyer or the seller?
You are the buyer.
And you're selling me this land.
Yes, and we've come out here with 2 witnesses
Okay.
to watch
All right.
all this happening.
And how does this procedure go?
Okay, you're going to start by cutting out a piece of turf on the property.
All right, so we'll just,
And you hold on to that turf.
I hold on the turf, okay?
Now,
This is real.
put money in the hole.
All right, I got some cash. How about a buck for this?
Buck
Will
is
this
works
work?
here. It's a couple shillings back in Old England.
Okay.
Okay, and then hand me the sod.
This piece?
Yes, you do.
Okay,
And I take the twig,
yes.
and I take the sod, and I say this following: This turf and twig I give to thee, as free as Athelstan gave to me, and I hope a loving brother that will be. And I twiggle you
That's a
with
twiggle.
the twig.
Really?
Yes, I do. And then I put it in.
Now it's for
the
blind
sod,
people.
and
They
I
could do
hand
this
it to
also.
you.
Thank you.
And then you take the sod and put it back in the hole.
All right.
And with that, you just bought this wonderful property.
And I've been twiggled.
Yes, you have.
Wow.
And the reason for that was so that
Okay, so you get the gist, right? Now, what the hell's going on there, right? To convey a ring, to give someone a ring, it's easy. You hand them the ring, right? To give someone a piano, okay, maybe you can transfer the piano to their house. How do you transfer a piece of land, right? You can't carry a piece of land. There were no records to have a deed, so you did the next best thing. You gave them a piece of dirt, right? You gave them a clump of the sod, and they accepted it. And the point of that twiggling, I don't know if you heard it, was blind people could do it also, even if they couldn't see it. But there was an important aspect there. You had two witnesses, right? You needed to have people witnessing the transferring. That way there's no doubt that the land went from person A to person B. There was no doubt about it. And it actually gets more complicated. You didn't just do this once. There was a tradition where you did this every single year. So if I sold you a piece of land, right? By the way, in this class, everything's called Blackacre. That's the official name of land, right? You'll learn this. If I sold you Blackacre, right, I'd say every year on July 1st, you have to come out to the land and transfer a red rose to the current owner, right? So I'm selling it to you. You say, every year, give me a red rose. Why? That reminds everyone that I gave this land to you. And what happens when I die? You give it to my son, and his son, and his son. And this is going on for years. You have these traditions where you always give a piece of dirt, a rose, a clump of sod, whatever it is, and you do these rituals. And these were meant to be physical delivery, so you know where this land came from. In fact, I think this is in your book somewhere. There's a church, I think in Connecticut, and they had a deed from the 1700s where every year they deliver a certain amount of silver to the descendants of this one family. And every year they do it. They deliver the silver to the descendants of this family. But the reason why they had this was to have the physicality of delivery, that you knew there was something going on. You got the little twiggle, right? You got twiggled, so you knew the property was being transferred. There was no doubt in your mind. Okay? You will remember nothing else I tell you, but you remember twiggling. This video will be seared in your mind. I would bring dirt to class, but it's very messy. This is much easier. All right, so any questions on twiggling or constructive or physical delivery there? Yes, Mara.
What do they do with the money in the ground?
They might pick it up afterwards. I'm not sure. I suspect they don't leave it to grow. You know, plant a money tree. I don't know. Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are on the same wavelength. Yeah. But I suspect they find a way to hold on to it. But good question. And no one's ever asked me that before. Twice one day. Very glad you're focusing on the important stuff. All right, what else? What else? All right, let's go back to the book, the same page. There's a follow-up question in the second paragraph. All right, so I'll read out loud. It says, suppose that A does not telephone O to tell her the ring has been found. A week later, at a dinner with friends, A surprises O by producing the ring. O takes the ring, looks at it, and gives it back to A, saying, I want you to have it, it's yours. Okay. A tries the ring on, but it's too large for A's finger. O then says, let me wear it until you can get it cut down to fit you. Okay. O leaves the dinner wearing the ring and is struck by a car and is killed. As it turns out in this class, people always have violent, quick deaths. It's just always how things go. A sues the executor. So I'm going to ask the question again. Okay. Okay. Actually, it's now it's in reverse, right? Who owns the ring? A or O? Again, remember? A tries it on, it didn't fit, it's too large. O says, let me wear it. O leaves the dinner wearing the ring, is struck by a car and is killed. Violent, right? Okay, so let's give you 30 seconds on this one. All right, let's try this. Okay, who owns the ring? A or O? O's dead, but we'll forget that part for a minute, okay? All right, stop it there. Where did I drop off? All right, Dylan, now you're up. Who has the ring here? Is it A or is it O?
I put O.
Okay, tell me why.
Well, I was thinking that like when she gave the ring back, that like the intended transfer was like conditional. I think kind of like.
When A gave the ring back to O, what was A's intent? Was it a gift? In other words, when A gave it back to O, was her intent to give as a gift?
No.
Okay, that's right. Why not?
Because it was based on like her getting like size for her finger.
What do you call that? Little review. When you give someone a piece of property to hold on to, but not for permanence.
Settlement?
Very good, right? So here, right, A's intent was not as a gift. A's intent was as a bailment. So therefore, Dylan, who keeps it? Yeah. I think most of you got that one. Very good. Right? Did I? Yeah. So the answer is A, right? And I want you to understand the reason why. Even though you had delivery and acceptance back to O, the intent was not as a gift. The intent was only as a bailment. So you have to be very careful about that. Everyone understand that? Very good. Okay. All right, any questions on that? Is a note still in there about Putin and the Super Bowl ring? Oh, they took this out. So, in 2005, on a business trip, Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the New England Patriots, took off a Super Bowl ring, and he showed it to Russian President Vladimir Putin. So, according to Kraft, Putin put on the ring and said, "I can kill someone with this ring." Okay. Kraft claims that he put his hand out, and then Putin put the ring in his pocket. And then the KGB guys swarmed him, and they walked out. Was that a gift? Okay. So, Kraft then put out a statement saying, "I decided to give President Putin the ring as a symbol of the respect and admiration I have for the Russian people and his leadership." Was this a gift? Katie, was this a gift?
Yes, I would say you did send that first, but you did physically deliver it.
Yeah, I think Katie's right. Even though when he first gave it to him, it was as a bailment I'm supposed to look at and hold on to for a minute, right? Later on, after the State Department called, he decided to change his intent. I'm guessing the government said, "Don't demand it back," right? So now Putin has a Super Bowl ring, right? That's what we have. But I think Katie's right. I think that would have been a gift. Yeah, this was in your book. They cut it out. They cut all sorts of good stuff. It's driving me crazy. I always have this weird adaptation semester where the good stuff's not in there. I always forget. All right. Let's leave it there. Okay. Okay. Let's go on to the first case. The Newman versus Bost. All right. This is Joseph Van Pelt, who was the intestate. By the way, this word intestate means a person who dies without a will, right? So if you don't have a will and you die, you're called intestate. Okay, that's what the word means. All right, Lance, give me the facts in Van Pelt, please. I'm sorry, Newman.
So Van Pelt was the owner of the estate.
Okay, and here's actually the Van Pelt estate. This is what the house looks like. Very good.
And he was on his deathbed.
Okay.
And the plaintiff.
Who is the plaintiff?
He brought her in when she was 18 years old.
Yeah, what was her name?
Like
Julie Newman. Very good. Yeah.
And he brought her in when she was 18. She was an orphan. He employed her. And for 10 years, and then he married her.
Oh, did he actually marry her? Oldest trick in the book, right? He didn't marry her, did he? No. So a couple of you guys are chuckling. So I mean, let's be frank here, right? Okay. His wife dies, right? He's an older guy. He finds this orphan, was she 18, whatever, comes to live with him as his maid. Yada yada yada. He says, "I'll marry you." he never does. We can presume, I think, there was a relationship of some sort. Everyone, I think are we on the same page here? There was some, I'll leave it there. There was some sort of relationship between Van Pelt and this Julie Newman. Okay. All right, very good. Yeah, Alec. Okay, so they're living together in the same house, whatever. We're not going to ask questions, right? But he gets sick. He has, a debilitating stroke, right? He's on his way out. Walk me through, Alec, this dramatic scene. He's only a few days left to live, right? He's on his way out. What's this dramatic scene that happens in the house as Mr. Van Pelt's about to die?
So he basically calls Mr. Newman over, gives him the keys to the house. And
What was the key to it, to be precise?
Armoire.
Okay, good. Yeah. So he hands her keys to it's like a chest, right? It's a piece of furniture. Okay. Okay. What else happens?
And it's basically like, it's all yours, and gift it to you, and yes. And so then he.
Okay. Let me just pause you right there. I'll move on in a second. But Alec, who was the witness to Mr. Van Pelt doing all this stuff? Yeah, so you have the maid, we call her maid, housekeeper, right? Servant. We call her the housekeeper, and we have Julie, right? Stephanie, is any of this in writing? How do we know we can trust Julie and the housekeeper here? Are they impartial? Do they perhaps have an incentive in this situation? Why? Okay, so this is the reason why. Any of you ever have to sign a will for one of your relatives? Wills have to be signed by two independent witnesses, right? And generally these are witnesses who don't stand to gain from the transaction. The reason why, and this is a very important principle, once you're dead, right? With the usual contract, if a party breaches, the plaintiff can sue and say, no, that wasn't the term. I'm going to pursue you for breach of contract. Fine. With a will, though, wills are only executed when the guy's dead. And then once the person's dead, there's no one to say, here's what I really meant by this. So the law draws a distinction, right? With a will, you have to have a signature by two independent people. And this is to prevent fraud, right? Because imagine there's a will that's only signed by, some elderly guy. He was on his deathbed. Someone can come and say, he didn't know what he was signing. He was incapacitated. He just took his hand and went like this, right? Or they forged it even. Having two witnesses present when the will's being signed says, he signed it, and here's John and Sally, and they can testify that this was an honest transaction, right? So that's why generally wills have to be signed by two people to ensure or to reduce the risk of fraud. But here, there was no signatures. There were two witnesses, I suppose, one of whom stood to gain a lot of money, and the other one was maybe friends with the Miss Julie, right? So you have this amazing transaction, right? So you have this, bless you. So you have this $3,000 life insurance policy, right? You have roughly $200 of household property. You have a piano worth about $300, and you have a value of furniture in Julia's room, right? So, Rachel, how does the court go about piecing this, this dramatic deathbed gift? Right? How does the court handle it? Well, okay, you're giving like 5 minutes on the road. My question's a little bit more simple, right? Why don't they just listen to Miss Julia, right? Why don't they, Miss Julia told us this, that's going to be their answer, right? Why don't they just go with what Miss Julia said? Oh, they don't trust her. Now, I mean, you have to be a cynic, but why don't they trust Miss Julia? Why would she possibly lie?
Because there was nobody else
Yeah. And look, you don't need to be cynical here, but look, when there's money to be had, people's memories fade, right? I mean, let's let me try to be honest here, right? Her boyfriend, probably was her boyfriend, was about to die, right? Maybe she was very upset. Maybe she was very sad, depressed. Who knows, right? Maybe she saw things that didn't happen. Maybe she heard things that didn't happen, right? Or maybe the guy was just throwing her for a loop and didn't actually mean it, right? Because when you give money to your girlfriend, your kids don't get it. And maybe he was just telling her what she wanted to hear. Same way as, oh yeah, I'm going to marry you, and never actually did, right? So, I don't know. We don't know. But I think Rachel is on the mark when she says the court didn't trust her. That, for sure, they didn't trust her. Now, why did they not trust her? Because there's nothing in writing. So usually, right, when you have a will and it doesn't have the required witnesses, it's just not valid. They don't enforce it. Okay? But there's this doctrine, Kendra, what's called a gift causa mortis. Oops. Right? Or also called donatio, which basically is Latin for gift. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. But a gift or or like a donation, right? Causa mortis, right? What is this, Kendra? What does this concept mean?
So you need two things that are necessary for this, and it's intention to make the gift and a delivery of the thing given.
Well, when can you give a gift causa mortis? What are this? I mean, you're giving me the right conditions, but generally, when do these gifts arise?
When you're dying.
Yeah. So there is the deathbed gift, right? If you're on your deathbed and you're dying, if you're on your deathbed and you're dying, the usual rules about wills are relaxed, right? Because again, if a person's suddenly dying, you're not going to make them go hire a lawyer and find two witnesses. It's just not practicable. But Kendra, what are the two conditions for the gift causa mortis that you said a minute ago?
So you need both of them, and it's an intention to make the gift and the delivery of the thing given.
Okay, so right. So again, it's intention and delivery, right? So it's basically the same thing as a regular gift. But here's the catch. You have to give the delivery before the person dies, right? The key of this is it has to be done while the person's still living. So when the person's on the way out. What if the person makes a miraculous recovery? That's actually a little tricky. Some jurisdictions allow you to keep the gift. Some say no, you have to revoke it. But we don't have that here. There's no miracle. The guy did die. So the question is, was there an intent and was there a delivery? So that, Aaron, there you are. Aaron, who left the Red Bull in my chair? Let's knock it over. I think I know what it was. It's my last class in the same room. So, Aaron, let's do the easier one first. What was Mr. Van Pelt's intent here?
What was his what?
What was his intent? Do we know?
I don't think we know for sure.
No. Yeah. Okay, so now tell me, why do we not know what his intent was for sure? I think your answer is correct here.
Because so the court kind of goes into if he wanted her to have that life insurance policy, like the note, because physically given that to her, but instead he just gave her.
Oh no, you're going to delivery. You give me a next answer. Intent though. Why do we not know what his intent is? It's actually a much easier answer than the delivery part.
Because we weren't there.
Yeah, we don't know what was in his mind. He never wrote it down. All we have is his girlfriend and the housekeeper saying, oh yeah, he was pointing here and doing this and doing this. The court is basically saying, we're not going to extend this gift causa mortis doctrine any further, right? This is a doctrine designed to prevent against fraud, and we're not going to read it any more broadly than necessary. So the intent part, we simply don't know. Now, Sidra, in terms of delivery, though, it's we can do a little bit more work with that. So what's the deal with the delivery here?
Well, that's one of the main issues that the court is talking about. And they basically wanted to get fall under if the deceased's actions fall under constructive delivery.
Very good. Right. Very good. So Sidra's right. This is an instance of constructive delivery, right? He didn't hand her anything personal, so no physical delivery. There was no writing, right? He didn't say, I give you this, my handwriting, so there's no symbolic. Sidra's right. This is an aspect of constructive delivery. So Joyce, let's take them one at a time, right? One at a time. Let's talk about the life insurance policy, right? How does a life insurance policy fit in with this constructive delivery doctrine? You're right. Why is no delivery for the life insurance policy? What could Mr. Van Pelt have done with the life insurance policy? Could have handed it to her, right? So what the court says here for the life insurance policy, there's no delivery, right? With ease, it could have been manually delivered. All he'd say was, "Hey, Julie, could you hand me that thing in the drawer, the little piece of paper?" "Oh, yeah, sure." Done. If that had been done, I think it'll be a valid gift because there's no question. You have the fox, right? You got it in your hand. It's your policy. You pay to the holder of the policy. Right? So that one's easy. Now, next, Cheyenne, with the household furniture, right? The property, roughly $200 worth. The court has a little bit more of a complicated analysis here, right? Does Julia get all of the property, all of the furniture in the house? This is, I think Anne was asking about this last week, right? To get everything in the house? No. So, Cheyenne, what property does Julie get? What furniture does she get in the home? Bingo. Right. Why? Yes. So what the court says here is that handing over the keys was constructed delivery of the big items, right? That were too heavy to manually deliver. Again, this guy was in his deathbed. He can't hand her a dresser. It's not possible. So any furniture that was unlocked by the keys he gave her went to Miss Julia. But the rest of the furniture that's not locked by the keys was not delivered. Now, just I want to note, couldn't the keys, I think someone said this earlier, couldn't giving the keys say this is symbolism of the entire house, right? Right? Couldn't giving the keys say, here, everything in the house, right? That the keys open is yours. The court rejects symbolic delivery here. They just don't accept it. So again, I think the court here was very much concerned about fraud and was trying to read the doctrine very narrowly to prevent this type of fraud. Okay. All right, so Madison, now we have the piano, right? And again, the piano burned, right? The entire house burned down, apparently. But there was insurance money for the piano. What, does Julia get the piano?
No.
Why not?
But I think I remember reading that they said that whatever he could point to in the room counted as what you received outside of the room.
Well, but is there evidence that this piano might have been hers to keep as a gift? No, I don't know about that. Shana?
He had intended to buy for another piano.
Okay. But was that after his death or during his life?
That was
Okay. So I want to introduce... I jumped the gun. Which one was it? When did someone promise something? During their life or death?
Oh, obviously. Sorry, no.
Yeah. So there's two phrases I want to introduce you to. We'll be using these throughout the class. Inter vivos and testamentary. Inter vivos and testamentary. Inter vivos means during life. Testamentary means afterlife, right? Vivos, like vida loca, right? Life. You'll remember it this way, I promise. If you give a gift to someone during their life, it's what's called an inter vivos gift. That's what we were doing in the beginning of class. If I give you a ring, that's an inter vivos gift. Do you need witnesses for inter vivos gift? No. Why? Because if I give you this ring and there's a dispute, I am, hopefully, still alive to dispute it. But for testamentary gifts, which are afterlife, that is, I'm giving you this ring when I die, that's when you need the will with two signatures, two independent witnesses. Okay? Make sure you distinguish gifts, inter vivos and testamentary, because different rules apply. Again, for inter vivos gifts, you don't need any witnesses. For testamentary gifts, you need to follow what's called the statute of wills and have the required witnesses and signatures. Okay? So the first two items, the insurance policy, right, that was basically a testamentary gift. The household property was a testamentary gift. It was kicking after the guy died, right? You can't cash in a life insurance policy if the person's still alive. That's, I think everyone would agree with that point, okay? But the piano may have been given by Mr. Van Pelt to Julia while he was still alive. So that's what's called inter vivos gift. And the issue there is, did he actually intend to get her the new piano, or was he just stringing her along like with the marriage proposal that never came, right? A couple of you were smirking. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he was promising her the world and gave her absolutely nothing. I'm sure she was not very happy about this, living with this guy all these years, with her else, and she wound up with, well, what'd she wind up with, Gabe? What did she actually get after all this was said and done? What did she actually wind up with? Whose bedroom?
Her bedroom.
Yeah. Basically, she got the furniture that was unlocked by the keys, and she got the furniture in her bedroom, right? Because they're saying it was in her bedroom, it was gifted to her, it was delivered, that was enough. So she basically got almost nothing. She didn't get the insurance money. And by the way, who was, okay, so this was Newman versus Bost, right? Who's Bost, Lauren? Who's Bost?
Was it the, who's the person that was the estate?
Yeah, it's called the administrator. Very good. Yeah. The administrator is the person who actually manages the estate, or the executor. So in other words, the administrator more or less represents Bost's family. So imagine one hand you have Ms. Julia, who is basically probably his live-in girlfriend, or whatever, right? And you have the family. So this is a conflict between the family and the live-in girlfriend. And they probably didn't like her very much. I don't know, I'm guessing, right? Usually they don't in these sorts of situations. Like, you're not my mom, right? It happens, right? But here, basically, the estate, the administrator won everything, and Ms. Julia didn't get much. And what I think is important for you guys to recognize about this case is they very narrowly construe the symbolic delivery doctrine. I'm sorry, the constructive delivery doctrine. And they very narrowly construe this notion of the gift causa mortis to prevent fraud. Now, that doesn't have to be. I think in other cases, you see courts more willing to entertain broad intents. But here, the fact that Mr. Van Pelt didn't take any more concrete actions to signify his intent is why Ms. Julia wound up with basically nothing. Okay, so any other questions on Van Pelt? Boss? Yes, Anne?
So on the issue of the piano, they even say there was much evidence tending to show the intention of Van Pelt to give it to the plaintiff. But they're saying delivery. But if she lived there with him, where the hell was she supposed to put it? Cram it into the corner of her bedroom where it wouldn't fit? I mean... Well,
yeah, they make this point. Well, was it in a common room, or where was it? Yeah, you're rolling your eyes, I see. Again, my reading of this case, and you can tell me if you're wrong, is that these judges didn't think much of the house of Miss Julia, and thought that she was basically like an interloper trying to cash in on the old guy who died. That's my reading. You don't like it?
Well, I'm
skeptical.
Anne of Green Gables is a prejudice against orphans, and here she has this little 18-year-old orphan taken out of the orphanage or whatever by this old man.
Well, I don't want to. Just please, when someone's speaking, just interrupt them, okay? Just you can finish. I'll call you in a minute. Good.
Anyway, so,
yeah, I agree.
And if there's prejudice going against her, I feel in this.
Yeah, and I alluded to this. I think there's probably animosity with the family towards her as well, because she was several decades younger than the grandfather or whatever it was. Yeah, but yeah, she was almost 30. Just raise your hand, please. Thank you.
All of his family didn't live anywhere near.
Yeah.
Like, totally different states, and this is 1900. You know, this isn't like a casual, big call you on the telephone or everything. This is.
Yeah, it's amazing how after people die, family members show up from the woodworks. Like, oh, grandpa, right? When it's you're my Mr. Math, right? Do the math on a $3,000 life insurance policy. Yeah, is that it?
Already did.
Yeah, okay, good. So what, $85,000, right? I mean, that's a non-trivial amount of money. It's not a lot, but it's a non-trivial amount. Thank you for doing the math. I knew you already did it. Helps. Any questions on? Oh, I'm sorry, Julian. Yes, ma'am.
It says that there was a new trial. Did it end?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
They go through talking about the piano wasn't hers and.
Right. They basically order a new trial to show whether the intent was to give the piano during life. In other words, whether this was Anne's point a minute ago, whether it was a common piano or they actually intended to give it to her. Because if he intended to give it to her, then she should get the proceeds of the insurance money. It's $300. If the intent was not there, then it goes to the estate. I think that's what's going on there. All right. Other questions on the Bost case? So Miss Julia didn't get much to show for it. Anna Green Gables. I like first student to bring that up. It's a good reference. AP English, right? Everyone's remembering back? Okay, anything else? All right, let's do the next case. Gruen versus Gruen. I actually had a student, there was a summer abroad program somewhere. They went to Austria, and they actually got me a print of this case out of my office somewhere, which was very nice. And they actually remembered properly enough to remember I taught this case, which I was very flattered by. The students remember stuff, man. Remarkable. I speak for 4 hours a week. A couple words seep through. It's true. All right. So, who am I up to? Oh, yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you, sir. So, just give me the general facts in Gruen, please.
So, the plaintiff's suing to recover. He's suing his stepmom to recover.
Well, no. Just start back. What are the facts here? What's the dispute?
Son's claiming that his dad gifted him a painting but wanted to hold on to it till he died, and they went to his stepmother.
Okay, so, but Allison, walk me through the sequence, the chronology of how this painting was transferred to from the father to the son, please.
The father wrote to the son for his birthday, saying he wanted to give it to him.
Okay.
And then he later was like, "Just kidding." For tax purposes or whatever, I'm gonna hold on to it until I'm dead, and then it's yours.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Austin. Right. So this is a wealthy family, right? I mean, I don't get artwork for my birthday. I get like $18 check in the mail from my grandpa, right? But this is how people at Harvard roll, apparently, right? So the father said to his son in a birthday letter, "On your 21st birthday, I wish to give you a painting by Gustav Klimt, who's a very famous painter, which I own." Okay. Then he sent another letter about a month later. I like it. Just kidding, right? Just kidding. The second letter said, "My lawyer tells me that I can't do this because I'll pay taxes on it. It's a gift." Yes, there's a gift tax. When you give someone a gift, the recipient has to pay taxes on it. Okay. So he says, "Send me that letter back so I can burn it." Okay. I'm going to give you a third letter that provides that once I die, you can get it, but there's no taxes. Okay. And then the next letter said, "I am giving you this painting for your birthday, but I'm going to hold on to it." Right? I'll hold on to it. It's yours, right? It's your painting, but I'm going to hold on to it. And indeed, the son never took possession of it. Never took it. It remained in the father's possession until the father died. And then the evil stepmother, we're going Anna Green Gables or Cinderella, right there. The stepmother says, "I am not turning over to you, worthless ingrate. I'm not giving you the painting." Because this is a valuable painting, right? Over the years, it became more and more valuable as Klimt became more famous. So now the question is this. Okay. What kind of gift was the painting? Right? Name tag block. There's it, Lauren. Yeah, thank you. Max's head was in the way. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. What kind of next year I should just make a label to put on the back of your computer, would be easier, right? I was thinking about that. One of my students in his other class, he put a label with his name on it. It became much easier. So, Lauren, was this a gift that was testamentary, or was it a gift that was inter vivos? How would you characterize the painting for the son?
Testamentary.
Okay, why do you say testamentary?
Because it's not his until his father dies.
Wait a minute, Lauren. Didn't the letter say it's yours?
Well, he doesn't have it in his possession.
Oh. So, do you have to have it in possession for it to be yours?
I'm assuming
Now you see she follows the lead of my question. Very good, right? So, Daniel, we talk about this bundle of sticks, right? Remember we talked about this last week. Bundle of sticks, right? We have the right to exclude, the right to use, etc. Okay? I'm going to give you a concept that previews our next topic. Remember the one I said it's very complicated. Let's say, Daniel, I say to you, I'm going to own this house today, and then I'll give it to you in a year. Right? I promise you. I'm going to own this for 1 year, and then when I'm done, I'll give it to you, and you can have it for the rest of your life. Today, do you have an interest in that property? You have a future interest. Where'd you get that word from? That's what it's called. It'll drive you nuts. But Daniel's right. You have a future interest, right? In any given piece of property, you can have a present interest and a future interest. This is one of the most complicated concepts in the entire class. If you follow me here, you're in good shape. Okay? In a given piece of property, you can have a present interest and a future interest. I have it today, and then Daniel has it in 5 years, whatever I said, right? So Michelle, when the father said to him, I'm giving you this painting, but I'm going to keep it in my house. What was he actually giving the son?
I think he was giving him like ownership.
Use the words we just discussed.
Present.
Well, who had it in the present?
I mean, the dad did.
Dad kept the present interest. What was the father giving the son? She's right. What the father gave to the son was a future interest. Now, here's where you get confused. Like, how can you give a future interest in the present? That's exactly what it means. Today, Thursday, February 8th, I am giving you a future interest in this painting. I will keep it present for my life, and when I die, it's yours. Now, he doesn't get the painting till the father dies, right? The physical delivery doesn't happen till death. But what I'm giving you today is this red marker, this future interest. And you hold on to this, right? The same way he held on to that letter. He did not throw away that letter, right? He kept the other letter. That letter was his future interest. And he held on to it every day for, 30, 40 years, whatever it was, right? And the second dear old dad died, he took out that letter and said, hey, wicked stepmother, give me my damn painting, right? But that's the point. That's what happened. I'm sure the conversation had more cursing than that. But I think it was a stepmother also, because Lizette was the biological mother, I'm sure. By the way, whenever it's Gruen versus Gruen, the same name twice, it's always a custody case or a divorce case or an estate battle case. The same name, it's always family fighting. But when the father wrote that other letter, that final letter, he was giving the equivalent of the red marker, right? So this is the present estate, this is the blue, the future. He said, I'm going to keep the present, and I'm giving you the future estate. Right? Even though the painting remained in the father's home, the son kept this future interest. And that future interest, what we call a remainder, if you want to be fancy, we'll learn about this next week, it's called a remainder. Right? It's whatever's left over, remainder. The son held this remainder for 3 decades, and when the father died, right? Check this out, right? The father had the present interest. The son had the future interest, right? Different sticks in the bundle. When the father died, they merged. At that point, the son had the present interest and the future interest. He had the entire bundle of sticks all to himself. All right, yeah, I'll do it again. It's very easy, right? The father had the present interest, right? The son had the future interest. When the dad died, he had the entire bundle of sticks. The present and the future interest unite. When you have the present and the future interest all together, you own the entire thing. And I'll give you a fun word, which you'll learn next week, called fee simple. You're really dreading it, right? You'll learn this next week when you do the reading. Fee simple. It's the most simple, basic type of an estate. It means you have all the present interests and all the future interests combined, right? When you have the present and future interests combined, you have what's called fee simple. You own the entire painting. or land. This applies to land and paintings just the same. Everyone with me so far? This book I don't like. They do things out of order. They assume you know stuff you don't, but I'm backfilling it now. Okay? So now then the question becomes this. Hadia. Or Hadia, I'm sorry. Which one is it? Hadia, thank you. It clicked, yeah. Hadia, let me ask you this question, please. When the father gave the son the future interest, right, the red marker in that third letter, was that a gift inter vivos or a gift testamentary? Exactly, why? Why was it inter vivos and not testamentary? Yes. He was giving him the red marker, giving him the future interest now. It wasn't, you'll get this after I die. He was giving the son a future interest, what we call a remainder. And if you give someone a future interest during their life, it's a valid inter vivos gift. And Arlette, with a valid inter vivos gift, do you need witnesses, signatures, etc.? You do not. Why not?
Because it's during lifetime.
Yes. You only need, okay, just fill in, Arlette. What do you need to make an inter vivos gift?
Just intent, delivery, and acceptance.
Okay, good. So Anne, you need, for an inter vivos gift, you have intent, delivery, and acceptance, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's their intent?
Obviously.
Well, how do we know obvious. How do we know there was intent? What does the letter say?
I'm giving you this painting for your birthday.
But what did he say, though, in the letter, though? That's the important point. What was the intent in the letter?
I therefore wish to give you as a present the oil painting.
Keep going.
Which is in the living room.
Okay, keep going.
Because how much you always liked it. That was the last letter.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So the second letter was...
No, I want the final one, like the final instrument.
I thought that was the substitute this letter.
And read the second letter also.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
The second letter says, it was wrong to mention the letter when you use painting as long as I live, blah, blah, blah. It's all very silly. Making it possible for you, once I die, to get this picture without having to pay.
Okay. And that's the thing, right? He basically says, and all the letters are considered in sequence, right? They consider all the letters together. The purpose of this gift is to let the painting stay in his home now. Right? And he gets it later. That's the father's intent. Keep the painting with me for life, and you get the future interest. So intent is there. I think Anne's correct, obviously, right? It's correct. Now, Oscar, let me ask you this question. Is there a delivery?
Well, I mean, it's basically not a delivery, right?
But I mean, a painting is a fairly small item. Why couldn't the father have handed?
Because he couldn't. It wasn't top of his desk. You know, he can't hand it. You know, once he.
Why couldn't he have handed the painting to him to symbolize the interest?
I'm not sure if the letter was.
Well, the letter's not the painting. Why can't you just hand the painting? Well, Shinod, let me ask you this question. What precisely was the interest that the father was giving the son? Was he giving him the painting?
So the court went on to say that it didn't make sense for him to give it didn't make sense for the delivery of the painting to happen then, because that was the interest that he was trying to keep, and he was trying to give after the future interest.
Okay. So you said, Shinoda, what exactly was the interest the father was giving the son? The future interest. And how do you give a future interest? What means you use? Which is the letter, right? In order to give the future interest, the red marker, so to speak, right? You do that in a letter, constructively. He wasn't giving the son the painting, so it would not make sense to give the son the painting now, right? The son's interest was this remainder, this future interest. It would make no sense to give the son the painting now. It would only make sense to give him the painting later. Everyone with me, right? So again, this was not a testamentary gift, it was inter vivos. As an inter vivos gift, you need to show the intent, delivery, and acceptance. Was there intent? I think Anne's right. Yes, the letter showed intent to give this future interest. Was the future interest delivered? Yes, by virtue of the letter. That's the only way you can convey a future interest. You can't do it physically. And was it accepted? Yep, he held on to the letter for 30 years. He had it. He did not burn that letter, right? He held on to it very closely. And as soon as his dear old dad died, he's like, hey, where's my painting? And of course, what did he do once he got the painting? He sold it on auction for a couple $1 million, right? I'm sure. Andrew, did you check how much money that's worth today?
Well, it was sold.
Okay, I thought you already did. Never mind. You didn't inflate it?
Nah, it's probably about 30 million.
Thank you. Okay. Whatever. Oh, you said you don't like math, right? You're sitting next to him? Is this?
Oh, no, that wasn't me.
No, wasn't you? I remember that much, right, from the first week of class. Well, at least someone could do math, right? Whatever. You don't need to calculate inflation for the exam. That's not the exam. Okay. So what do we have here, right? This case is very complicated, but I want to try and summarize a few as quickly, as neatly as I can. Okay. The effect of the 3 letters, one of which was burned, was to give the son a future interest, what's called a remainder in the painting. That when the father dies, the son will get the remainder. During life, the father's a present interest. In death, they come together. The son has what's called fee simple. That is not a testamentary gift because it was given during life. It's inter vivos. And to have an inter vivos gift, you need intent, acceptance, and delivery. All the above are there. He intended to give a future interest. He delivered it by virtue of the letter, and the son accepted it. Done. Mother-in-law, wicked stepmother, gets nothing. The son gets a painting, which he promptly sells at auction. I'm sure he was waiting for that one for quite some time as well. Okay. All right, so any questions? Yeah.
Did he ever end up having to pay any taxes on it?
I suspect the answer is not, because it was it was not an inter vivos gift, so there's no gift tax. It might be considered partially an inheritance taxes, which is a different type of tax, but I'm guessing it was less. Yeah, I might be wrong. I'm not sure. Charlotte?
Why does gift tax? Why?
Well, let me ask you a question, right? If you give someone a salary, right? Let's say you have a business, you employ someone, you pay them a salary. Do they have to pay taxes on it?
Yeah.
Of course, an income tax. Now, what if you say, you know what? I don't want you to be my worker. I just want you to be my friend. And you can work for me for the year, and I'll give you this beautiful gift at the end of the year, a $50,000 paycheck at the end of the year. So it's not a salary, but it's a gift in response for you being such a good friend. You see the problem there, right? People can sidestep income tax by calling it a gift. So I don't know off the top of my head what the threshold is, but gifts over a certain amount do trigger the gift tax. Was it? One at a time. So raise your hand.
I think it's 50.
Okay, that sounds right. I'm sure Andrew can calculate with inflation, whatever it is today. But gifts above that threshold do trigger the gift tax. Do people pay it? Probably not. But in theory, it is taxable income. Yeah, Lauren?
Is that, so I read an article about like when people win stuff off like the game shows and stuff, they get taxed off of it.
Oh yeah. So for example, President Oprah, right? You get a car and you get a car, guess what? You're paying taxes on that car. So you actually are probably worse off by going to the Oprah show to pay taxes on a car that you wouldn't have otherwise had, which you probably should decline. But then someone said, what if Oprah pays their taxes, right? Guess what? That's a gift also. You have to pay taxes on the amount that Oprah paid for their taxes for the car, which was taxed. So there's no free lunch, right? Yeah, whenever you go to the Oprah, there you get this and you get that, right? You're paying. You're gonna pay taxes.
It's the same thing with the vacations you get from like Price is Right.
Yeah, if you go on The Price is Right in one of those game shows, you're gonna pay gift tax. Jeopardy, whatever it is, the lottery as well. You pay taxes, so you don't. There's a whole expression. There's nothing certain in life but death and taxes, and in this case, you tax when you die, so it's combined. Marcos.
Does this apply to like every gift you make, or?
It's over a certain threshold. So
No, I'm not talking about the tax. I'm talking about just like these rules.
Yeah. You never thought about it, but if you give someone a birthday present, right? You can't ask for it back the next day.
I mean,
maybe you do, but you're not. But there's no legally enforceable right. When you give a gift with the intent to give as a gift, that's it. You're done. Okay. Yes, Brittany.
The term gift is what we know it to be.
Yeah.
This means there's no exchange of anything, correct? Or what happens if there is an exchange of gifts? Is that
That's called compensation. You're in contract world, right?
Okay, Right, so this would not apply.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually a good point to bridge your first semester. The idea of a contract is just compensation, right? Consideration, same thing as compensation, right? You have bargain for exchange with consideration. That's the definition of a contract. If there's no consideration, it's then a gift, right? When you're having a bargain for consideration agreement, there's a lot of rules, right? You learn an entire semester on that. Gift is a lot simpler, right? The law makes it very easy to give a gift. You have the 3 factors: intent, acceptance, and delivery. To make a contract that won't even bore you, there's a lot more formalities you have to adhere to, right? And the idea is we want to make it easy for people to give gifts, donations, charity, etc. Even with a donation, right? If you give money to a charity in exchange for, say, tickets to a dinner, that's not a donation. You're actually getting value in return. You're getting a dinner out of it. So gift is basically where there's no consideration, no compensation coming back to you.
But it's not necessarily just one-sided. It could be I gift you and you gift me, or it is.
That sounds a lot like a commercial contract, right?
So
I
it is
give you, you
essentially
give me.
one-sided.
I think so, because once you say I give you this and you give me that sounds like a contract, doesn't it? I think so. Kendra.
Does this gift tax only apply to like regular people, or like if you donate to like an animal shelter, do they have to pay like tax?
Well, there's specific carve-outs for charities that they're not required to pay taxes on the gifts they receive. And likewise, when you give money to a charity, it's possible that you can write that off on your taxes as a charitable deduction. Yeah, Demetrius.
Can you give an example of something like that implemented?
Oh, sure. I say, Demetrius, after I die, you get my car. Easy, right? Now, how do we prove this conversation happened, right? If I say, Demetrius, after I die, you get my car, then I die, and you show up and say, hey, give me the car, right, to my estate. And say, where's the proof, right? That's why for testamentary gifts, you must satisfy what's called the statute of wills. You'll learn about this when you take wills and trusts, right? But it's a statute of wills. And they vary by state, but one of the general rules is you need to have witnesses, usually 2, signed. And those 2 witnesses can't be people who stand to benefit from the transaction. They have to be independent. Because if they can stand to benefit, you might not trust them. Usually the witnesses are like, the paralegals at the law firm, right? They're just people who sign all these wills. Because in theory, if there's a dispute, they can be called to testify in court, what's called probate court, and say, aha, this was a valid transaction and John signed it in good conscience. Now, what happens if a person's very sick and very ill and is barely, sentient, they can't stay awake, and someone takes her hand and scribbles their signature? Is that a valid signature? Are they lucid? Use the phrase, right? These doctrines do come up. Is there duress, right? These are the reasons why you need 2 witnesses. Imagine contracts class if all of your contracts had 2 independent witnesses. It actually make things a lot easier to enforce, but also a lot harder to actually sign the contracts. Demetrius?
Wouldn't a will be considered something like future income?
Yes, exactly. A will, well, no. I'm sorry. I take that back. With a will, you don't give anything today. The will says you only get something when I die. There's an important reason why, though. Once you write a will, it's not set in stone. You can cross out a will and rip it up and give another one. Until you die and the will is executed, nothing is set in stone. So I can write, Demetrius, a wonderful will and say, I'll give you everything you want. He's like, awesome. Next day I rip it up, make a new will. You get nothing, right? If it's a gift, I can't take it back, right? Once I give someone a future interest, I can't take it back. Actually, let me ask this question to you, Demetrius, right? After the father sent this letter, the final letter to the son, could he have said, you know what, never mind, I want my daughter to have it when I die? Could he have done that? No. No. What's the reason why? Once you give someone a remainder, a future interest, that's a gift. No backsies, right? You can't take it back. Once the gift is given, it's set in stone. With a will, you can rip it up because there's nothing happening until you die. But with an inter vivos gift during life, you're set. So let's say the son became a jerk and started pissing off the father, right? Too bad, Daddy, right? Once you wrote that letter, once you wrote that final letter, the die was cast. It was now the son's no matter what. Once the dad died, it would go to the son. Right? Let me explain this point again. Demetrius asked it well. With a will, with testamentary gifts, you can change at any point. You haven't given it yet. It's saying, I give this to you when I die. So until the person dies, it's his. He can rescind it, take it back, give it to his daughter, give it to whoever else. But with inter vivos gifts, Once you give it and the 3 elements are satisfied, done. It's no longer yours. You can't take back the painting of the ring, even if it's a future interest. Brittany?
For a future interest or the remainder, in this case, he took all the necessary precautions to make sure that it was still intact and that it still was good value. I understand it being the life of the donor or
Right.
the gifter, but what happens with the future interest if something happens to the actual gift?
Very, very good question. So we'll do this probably another week or two. What if, say, I own a piece of property for my life, and then my son has the remainder, and then I start, destroying the property
Or
and wasting it, and
a natural event or something.
okay, but let me say that's beyond your control. You can't control a disaster. But let's say I start dumping waste on there, start doing all this bad stuff to it. The person holding the remainder, what's called the remainder man, can actually bring a suit to stop the waste, saying, "Look, I have this future interest. You're not treating this well. I want a court to halt you, to enjoin you from committing this waste." And that's actually possible when you're the remainder man. When you have this future interest, you can actually assert an interest, saying, "Hey, this property is being kept in bad shape. Court intervene." That will come up, I think, about a week or so. But we'll get there. You're welcome, Andrew.
Kind of going off of that, if that the person holding the future interest, if they die or something like that, that future interest just goes to their estate.
Exactly. Okay. So what happens if the son died? Who would get the painting?
His son or his
The son's son. Yeah, the grandson or the granddaughter, whoever happened to be. Right. At common law, only the firstborn male could inherit property. That's no longer the rule. Well, actually, it was never the rule in the United States, except for I think 1 or 2 states, but that's not the rule. Yeah, Matt.
I have a third part of the question. If it is say you can't stop how do you get compensated for every dollar left?
Well, are we talking about a painting or real property?
Let's say a painting.
Right. So let's say the father, trashed and smashed the painting. It was worth nothing. I think the son will probably be screwed. With real property, it's very hard to destroy land, which is why I use the example of dumping waste, because that could actually ruin it permanently. You couldn't
get compensated.
There might be some sort of waste suit. Waste is a complicated topic. There might be some way to stop the dumping, I think.
But if the father purposely destroyed out of spite, and say he didn't want his daughter to get it, so he destroys it instead, because if you can prove that, you could be compensated out of the estate, what was left of the father's estate.
My tentative answer is I think the son will be out of luck, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. My tentative answer is no. Yeah, Andrew?
That was my question. I kind of got my curiosity doing this. Instead of thinking of waste, what if the land had a lot of timber on it and the value of the timber?
The waste doctrine is also exploiting resources in a wasteful fashion. There's an entire doctrine of waste, which I don't teach, but it goes to that, right? If you try and exploit the land, you can actually get a suit to prevent what's called destructive waste or exploiting. Yeah. But the important point is, though, and I'm glad you're all appreciating this, when you have a future interest, when you have a remainder, you're in the ballgame, right? You're in the picture, and you can actually assert that right. And in fact, let me ask one more question. Marcos, you're next, right? Could the son have sold his future interest? Let's say the son was really short on cash, right? And the son said, "Oh crap, I can't wait till my father dies. I need the money now." And he goes to someone else, says, "Hey, I want my future interest. Can you sell a future interest?"
No. Yes.
You can. Why? Why could you sell a future interest?
Maybe because you have some partial interest.
It's yours. It's an interest you can sell, right? Right? It's a stick in the bundle. You can sell your stick. And that way, when the father dies, whoever sold it to now gets the painting. Yeah.
Isn't it like the case, like the contract, that famous contract case of the grandson who's going to receive the money, then the state is trying to sue them?
I don't remember that one,
Okay.
but maybe.
I think it's
Good behavior.
I get in trouble if I say yes. I'm not sure. Anne, is your hand up also?
So what if someone set a fire and Dad and the painting are burnt? Does he have a
Oh,
claim
God.
against the insurance company for the value of the painting?
Well, usually if there's arson, the insurance company doesn't pay out.
Well, okay, lightning strikes.
Lightning strikes, right? Oh, you bet.
All burn up.
And what's your question if they all burn?
The stepmother is out of
Oh,
town.
God.
So the insurance,
Yeah, convenient, right?
of course, pays out for the painting. Does he have a claim for the funds for the painting?
If the son has a future interest in the painting, And just one at a time, please. If the son has a future interest in the painting and the insurance policy pays out, then I think the policy would pay out to the son. I think that's right. If they both die at the exact same minute. But I think the better question is if the painting burns during life, then I think the son would still have a claim to the money because he had a future interest in it. Matt, was your hand up? Oh, I'm sorry. I hand that direction, peripheral.
Okay. So I was just confused because you said they could sell their future interest, but if it's a gift that's like going to be later given.
No, but that's the point. It's a present gift. It's given today, right? The father gave the red marker to the son when he wrote that letter. That was his to hold, and he can sell it if he so chooses.
Okay, but he just doesn't.
He doesn't have to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Jordan.
I want to go back to if the painting burns. So what happens if the painting burns, but you still have the future interest and the present interest?
So the painting's incinerated, right?
Yeah.
Ash. Is there an insurance policy?
Yeah.
Then I think the son might have a cut of the insurance money. I think it'd be complicated though, because there's no painting to inherit when there's dead. Jolene?
So the way I was thinking about this, and maybe it's incorrect, is that the son, at the time that he receives the letter of the gift, he becomes the owner, and if you're thinking about property, he becomes the owner of the property.
No, owner of which interest, though? Be precise. He becomes the owner of which interest, the son?
He becomes the owner of the interest once the dad...
No, but right away, what interest does he get?
The future interest.
That's right. Make sure you say it correctly, right? He gets the interest right away. The day he gets that letter, he got the red mark. He got the future interest. It's a difficult concept. How can you get a future interest in the present, right? It doesn't make sense, but if you think about it, I am getting this interest now, which I can cash in later, right? I'm getting basically a ticket, which lets me cash in my father's death.
So the question is, today, who owns it?
But there's not a single owner. That's the point of the bundle of sticks. Okay. There are two people, each with a claim to the property. The father has a present interest, and the son has a future interest. They both have an ownership interest, but there's not a single owner.
Okay.
And that's what I want to break you of this semester. There's not one owner of property. There are different people with competing claims to it. Ann?
So
Jordan.
if he's out of town, it burns up, he's still alive,
Yeah.
He gets the insurance check and decides to buy a Van Gogh instead.
I think the son, as a remainder, and might have some claim against the money.
So the father would at that point have to pay out? And
I think the son would probably have to sue the father and to try and get a cut of it. Jordan?
So if I wanted to reject this gift, I would have to write back and say, I expressly...
Yeah, you say, screw this, I don't want it. I mean, keep it.
I don't want it.
You can do that. You can say, I don't want it at all. You can decline a gift. Usually acceptance is presumed, but you don't have to accept it. Like if you're in the Oprah audience and you don't want a car because you pay a $10,000 tax bill on it, right? You say, sorry, Oprah, I have a car, I'm good. Right? You have to basically sell the car to pay the tax bill. I guess you make a little bit extra, I suppose. Arlette.
I know you mentioned whenever he dies, he gets like the full bundle, right?
Yeah.
So right now, when there's a present and a future, is the bundle split? Or
Yep.
is the
Yeah.
dad,
Well,
okay.
yeah. The bundle is separate, and only when the death does it unite.
So it's equal, basically. They have equal.
Well, there's a present interest for the father and a future interest for the son. Yeah, Edwin. Guys, just one at a time, please. Just one at a time. Thank you. Yes, the father could sell it to a museum and say, look, you can keep it, but, oh, here's the catch. How long could the museum keep it on display for? So basically, the father could sell it to a museum for his lifespan, and once he dies, it goes to the son. That's what's called, oh, you guys are going to hate me, what's called a life estate. Right? You can give someone an estate for the duration of your life. Right? You can give it for the duration of your life. And once you die, your present interest is extinguished and the son gets it. In fact, the present interest, if I want to be precise, is called a life estate in this case. I didn't want to give it to you, but everyone made me. Right? The present interest here is called a life estate. And the future interest is called the remainder.
What was in the reading?
Yeah, yeah. I deliberately don't teach it like that, but it is in the reading. It's a fair game. You'll do a lot more. Yeah, Brittany, go ahead.
Is that always upheld? So if it was sold, if he did, because he did lend it out to museums and whatever.
Yeah, and that was a life estate. He could not have given it to a museum for longer than his life. I mean, no one knows when they're going to die, right? You don't know when none of us know. But I can say, I'm going to give this to you for the rest of my duration, my natural life, and once I die, it goes to my son.
And it would be his responsibility to disclose that to
Well,
the museum?
yes, yeah, because if you're giving a gift, you have to say my duration, right? That's not a permanent gift. I'm saying, I'm giving it to you for the, and actually it's probably bailment to be precise, but it's a bailment for the duration of my natural life, which we would call life estate here. Yeah.
So he gives the selling present interest to a museum, and the museum goes to.
I'm sorry? Oh God, enough with your fires.
Is the museum responsible for reimbursing future interest of the son?
Probably. Shinoda and Lauren.
If you felt a present interest and it's failed to disclose that you do not have the future interest in that item and then price it for the whole thing, is that fraud?
Probably fraud, but I'll tell you, if the father only has a life estate and he sells it as a fee simple, the son shows up, he's getting it, right? The museum can't keep it. Yeah, Lauren?
So basically, kind of what he said, but I'm not sure. Okay, so if he sells it to the museum, and then he doesn't tell his son that he sold it to the museum, so the son thinks that he still has it. What if the museum doesn't know that the father died? Who notifies the museum that the father died?
So the son will have to probably track it down, right? So museum's an easy case because it's on public display, right? You can find out what's on public display. The harder one is if the father's a jerk and the father sells it to his buddy and says, oh yeah, this is yours forever. It doesn't tell anyone. How will the son ever find out? There's no marketplace for private gifts like that. Okay, 2 more questions, we'll wrap up. Celeste and Jordan.
What, say that the father lends it to the museum and then, gives his present interest to the museum, and then he dies, and then the son never claims it, and then his son wants it back. At what point does the museum get to keep it? Like, what about this generation after generation?
You're getting into what's called adverse possession, where if you keep a piece of property squatting, right, for a certain number of years, and the other person knows you got it. So if after a decade, guys, just hold on, I got 2 minutes left, right? I'll pack up, it's very rude. So if you know that someone has their property, you don't do anything for a decade, they keep it. So the museum could actually acquire through adverse possession after about a decade. All right, Jordan, and then we'll end here. And then you guys come up and ask afterwards. Yeah.
So can I assign like a life estate interest for someone else and then give you a future interest?
Yeah.
in that?
Yeah, so what you can basically say is you can keep it for the duration of my natural life. Yeah. Which is crazy. Actually, it's like, all right, one more, James.
Once I acquire future interest, can I immediately allocate my present and future interest immediately?
To someone else?
Yeah, to someone else.
You can sell it. You can sell your future interest, exactly. Oh, you guys are going to love future interest. It's going to drive you crazy. Anything else? All right, I'll see you next Thursday. Thank you very much.